In Nigeria's long and restless search for leadership, one name refused to disappear. A soldier turned dictator, turned democratic president, loved by millions, feared by many, and judged by history. This is the story of Muhammadu Buhari, the man who ruled Nigeria twice, in two very different ways. Born in 1942 in Daura, Katsina, Muhammadu Buhari joined the Nigerian army at just 19. A quiet man, yet sharp, precise. He rose through the ranks during a time when Nigeria's democracy was fragile and the military often ruled. By the 1970s, Buhari was no longer just a soldier. He was a major player in the chessboard of coups and counter-coups. In December 1983, Nigeria's fragile democracy collapsed again. The military struck, and Major General Buhari became head of state. He promised to restore discipline, end corruption, and fix a broken nation. But his regime was not soft. Journalists were jailed, politicians locked up. Nigerians lived in fear. Some called it the birth of sanity. Others called it the death of freedom. But in Nigeria, power never sits quietly. In August 1985, Buhari's own men, led by General Babangida, overthrew him. No warning, no mercy. Buhari vanished into silence, detained, dismissed, doubted. Some thought he would never return, but time had other plans. Years passed, Nigeria returned to democracy, and to the shock of many, Buhari returned too, not with guns but with ballots. He ran for president in 2003 and lost. Tried again in 2007 and lost. Won more in 2011 and lost again. Each loss was a blow, not to a man, but to a belief. People said he was too old, too hard, too outdated. But in 2015, something shifted. A coalition called Change swept across Nigeria. Young voters, frustrated citizens, hopes reborn. Buhari defeated sitting president Goodluck Jonathan, becoming the first opposition candidate to win a Nigerian election. This was no longer a dictator. This was a man reborn, under democracy. But governing was harder than campaigning. Under Buhari's democratic rule, hope met hardship. The economy strained, insecurity worsened. Change became silence. His second coming was met with storms. Boko Haram raged in the north, tearing families apart and turning cities into battlefields. Fulani herdsmen clashed with farmers, staining the soil with blood. The economy plunged, the naira fell, fuel scarcity returned, and queues at petrol stations stretched for miles. Then in 2020, the youth roared. October 20th, 2020. EndSARS. A movement for justice, dignity, and the right to live. We marched peacefully. We sang the anthem. We waved the flag with hope in our hearts. Then, gunshots, screams, silence. The president, silent. Days passed. When he finally spoke, he said nothing. As the years rolled on, Nigeria slid deeper. Billions borrowed, but hope felt bankrupt. Youth wandered, unemployed. Doctors went on strike. Universities locked their gates, and Buhari, he vanished, often in London, seeking medical care, while hospitals back home crumbled. He ruled for 8 years. Some said he brought stability. Others said he faded into distance, too aloof, too slow. In May 2023, Buhari stepped down, older, quieter, more human. Buhari ruled Nigeria twice, once with an iron hand, once with a fragile hope. And whether remembered as hero or villain, one thing is certain, he never stopped walking back into the storm.